Ayan, good evening everyone. Hi, hello. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Can I see a response correspond naman dyan? Hello, hello.
Hello.
Ayan, magandang gabi. Maayong gabi, marhay na banggi. Hello, hello. We're very happy to see everyone here on Zoom, no? And we're also live on Facebook. And this is another formal session of the Young Mobility Leaders Program, of course, brought to us by the Move As One Coalition. So for those who are new on or first time joining this activity of the coalition, the Move As One or the Young Mobility Leaders Program is one of the offerings of the coalition, especially for the young people who have the keen interest and desire to deepen their knowledge and understanding and care about the transportation system and generally speaking, the mobility landscape in the country. And what better way to do that than to make this session open to everyone, because this is one way that we can bring as many people, as many volunteers to our fold in widening and spreading this advocacy that we have been pushing for 4 years already now. So but before we begin no, sa ating webinar tonight, can I see naman a reaction or a virtual reaction or any thoughts that you'd like to share with us? How you friends, how your day went, friends? You know, we're seeing a very divided nation, as we may already know, especially online with the recent happening and whatever stratum of the society you can name off. Grabe, super divided and very polarized yung ating lipunan recently. And it's just good. It's a breath of fresh air that despite what's been happening, we still continue what we have been doing, and we don't do any silent resignation, perhaps you can call it that way, but we power through, because that's just one way that we get along in this life. So can I see a thumbs up how your day went? Heart if it went very beautifully, very productively, and thumbs up if may okay lang. And however you want to describe your day with the available emojis here on Zoom. Ayan, I'm seeing here thumbs up, no? Merong nag-heart. I love that. Ayan, merong cat na reaction na emoji. And we also have three viewers no on Zoom on Facebook Live. Hello, hello sa ating tatlong viewers tuning in with us via the Facebook Live. All right, thank you very much for that. We are 17 persons strong here on Zoom plus 4 viewers on Facebook, and I believe it's a very good number because we couldn't wait to begin this webinar. Kasi, as you may already know, as I have sort of mentioned a bit a while ago, yung YMLP 5 follows a module that we have prepared last year pa lang. And we couldn't help but feel sort of amazed how time moves very fast. Kasi parang kailan lang we just onboarded our YMLP fellows in October, and yet now we are down to the last few sessions before their graduation. But be that as it may, we are happy because not only are the YMLP fellows here with us tonight, but we also have individuals, volunteers who dedicated and volunteered to join us tonight and hear from our dear speaker. Okay? Because tonight, ang ating pag-uusapan ay tungkol sa inclusion and pedestrianization. And I'm sure we have varying opinions, thoughts, and concepts that come into our mind when we come across these two terminologies, inclusion and pedestrianization. And tonight is actually that opportunity that we get to learn, relearn, and unlearn what we know about so far about inclusion and pedestrianization. And to help us do that, the Move As One Coalition has invited a very generous with her time na speaker. She is from the Bike Friendly Philippines and also a long time bike cyclist. No, she really walks the talk and she wears her heart on her sleeves when it comes to cycling because that is her life. And she is also a co-moderator of the Pinay Bike Commuter community. My dear friends, if you're all ready, can I see a thumbs up to welcome our speaker here on Zoom? A thumbs up or heart reaction naman dyan? All right. Thank you very much. I'm seeing your love for her. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome here on Zoom our dear speaker for tonight, Ate Karen Crisostomo. Ate Karen, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, Mar, for that very heartwarming introduction. And thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm very excited to share with you. Just I won't make it too long because the topic is actually something that you can't really cover it in a few minutes or half an hour. But just to give you an overview of inclusion and pedestrianization, and it's actually something about how we can make our streets more inviting for people to visit, and also it's a way that we want to redesign the streets for pedestrians and not cars. So very quickly, if you look at the next slide, you're going to see I'm going to talk about where the term sidewalk and crime of jaywalking came from, and then some just a quick touch on the early pedestrianization efforts here in the Philippines or in Metro Manila, objectives and benefits of pedestrianization, some laws, because there are that exist that protect the pedestrian, how to pedestrianize the street, and some challenges when it comes to inclusion and pedestrianization. Next, please. So, if you notice, if you look at that picture, there's a purpose as to why I used a photo from Manhattan. The streets, if you look very closely, the streets are a place for pedestrians, pushcart vendors, horse-drawn vehicles, streetcars, a place for children to play and to walk. 100 years ago, okay, if you were a pedestrian, crossing the street would be simple. You just cross it. But now, it's very difficult to cross kasi magpapatintero ka pa. Maliban sa magpapatintero, you will also have to look for a crosswalk. Okay? So there's a reason as to why that has all happened. But if we look closely, if we move to the next slide, I chose a picture for Escolta, and this was taken in 1940. The streets, our streets actually have been taken over by the car dealers, or this is how shall we say, this is how we got overrun. Okay, we got the streets, we pedestrians got restricted because there's a law that came about due to automakers, car dealers, and car enthusiasts who really work towards restricting pedestrians. But actually, it started the other way around. It was pedestrians who were trying to make a move to restrict and to lower the speed limit of cars. Um, if it's okay, can I ask anyone here who knows where sidewalks came from, or the term sidewalks came, or even jaywalking came from? Is there anyone who would like to share if they know? Mar, please let me know if someone is answering.
Yes po. So far, wala pa namang nag-chat.
Wala pa. O,
But everyone,
sige.
anyone, sorry to cut you short, Ate Karen. Anyone can answer via turning on their microphone or they may also just chat it para mabasa natin.
Yeah.
Over to you back.
Sige. Okay. The sidewalk, before kasi, when you think about it, what came first? Yung tao ba o yung kotse? Diba? Or tao or karitela? Tao o kabayo? Ang nauna talaga is tao. I mean, and every time people walk, it caused a path. And later on, when the caritons, the caritelas started coming, it made the path wider. And later on, because we wanted to have an easier and more comfortable mode of transportation when we walk, um, the roads started getting paved. The thing is, along with the paving of roads, along came the cars as well. And due to wanting the desire to lessen deaths because they were getting quite high, sidewalks came into play, and so it provided a path. Marv, are we in the slide for sidewalk? Marvin?
Yes, Ate Karen. Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Sorry.
All right.
So the sidewalks, they played a very important a role in transportation. If you notice, I'm actually putting in photos yung mga sinaunang panahon. So there's Binondo of 1949 and there's Rizal Avenue in 1945. If you look if you look closely at the photos, you're actually going to see that the sidewalks back then were a lot wider than they are now. Okay? Now, if we move to the next slide, as I said, we're just going to go very briefly over this. If you look at the next slide, jaywalking. Okay, the term jaywalking came from the word hick, or a hick or a jay is someone who taga-probinsya or probinsyano. And so they started using that term as jaywalker, someone who didn't know how to walk in a city and threatening public safety. So can you imagine, okay, a pedestrian is being called as someone who threatens public safety. Parang nagkabaliktad, correct? Uh, because actually, when it comes to public safety, what really is dangerous? It's not the person, it's not people, it's actually the vehicles or the fast moving vehicles, whether it's a cariton, caritela, a horse, and again, the motorized transportation, that is the one that makes our streets dangerous. But anyway, so that's just where the sidewalks and jaywalking came from. So moving forward, when we look at early pedestrianization efforts in the Philippines, it started actually way back. But let's not move too way back to the 40s and 50s. Let's move to when we say year 2000, would you believe that's already 25 years ago? So in 25 years ago, the city of Marikina, they started already doing their project along the river park. And then in 2010, Cebu started a project that also was trying to improve safety and accessibility. So even Cebu realized the importance. In 2013, Escolta, or the city of Manila, tried to revitalize or revive Escolta on Sundays. But at the same time, as this doesn't surprise us, it was met with mixed reactions. And in 2019, DOTR launched Pedestrianized Streets. Its program, it was aiming to create pedestrian-friendly spaces in major cities. As you see, we're moving forward, no? In 2020, and this is right after the pandemic, or kind of still during the pandemic, the city of Pasig launched a pedestrianization project along its riverbank, creating a 1.2-kilometer pedestrian path. So when we look at that, um, how many years ago? 25 years, and yet do we feel safe when we are on the streets? So if we look at our next slide, please, more efforts really are needed to create inclusive public spaces because the past initiatives have not yet really been able to fully make the public feel safe. And so it continues to grow this interest in pedestrianization, and we really need to really put more effort in to create sustainable and inclusive public spaces. So next slide. The next slide is very interesting. In 1976, I was a grade 6 student, and I do remember my parents saying, grabe na ang traffic. Fast forward to current day 2024, 2025, this is how EDSA looks. So even back then, EDSA was already congested, and now it is even more congested. And if you look at the 1976 photo, you'll see that there is an island. Actually, people think that's a sidewalk, but that's actually an island where people could walk because But you'll also see that there's a bottleneck if you look closely at the photos. And in both photos, you will hardly anymore, you will see, wala nang sidewalk talaga. Wala nang mapaglakaran ang mga tao. So let's fast forward to today. Let's move forward to how we can make or efforts to make inclusive and more safe streets for people. So I think many of us have heard of car-free Sundays in Ayala Avenue. So the car-free streets, there are several car-free streets, and in car-free streets, you'll see it. It's there from in Ayala, 6 to 10 a.m. And it stretches from Ayala Avenue to Salcedo, all the way up to De La Costa to the Courtyard Drive. And this was launched September 10, 2023. Ayala Avenue is a proof of concept, shall we say. It's a very successful car-free street. It's every Sunday. Anyone who has already been, anyone who has attended or seen, can I see a show or anyone?
Yeah,
Okay.
meron na pong nag-heart and nag-raise hand
Okay.
in
So,
response.
ang ganda because in Ayala, you will see people running, people biking, people doing Zumba, people just hanging around, meeting up. And they're actually on the side, you're also going to see that there are establishments that have opened up earlier, so that they can really cater to for either it's for breakfast. So this initiative is actually a step created by Makati and Ayala to have a more livable, more breathable city, and it promotes fitness and wellness and a sense of community. Next slide. So just to share, no, last Sunday, a group of us biked from the car-free Ayala to car-free Morato Avenue. That's a community of bikers. And why did we do that? Because our presence is there to show that we want this. We want to continue promoting it. So we need to really be visible. And so actually it was a very big group that joined. And Cafe Morato was launched just last December 8, 2024. It was based on an ordinance created by or sponsored by District Councilor Irene Belmonte. So again, the ordinance is to promote safe cycling and active transport as an alternative mode of transportation in the city. The good news about Car Free Morato in our conversation with Joy Belmonte is that it won't just be every Sunday for February. They made it every other Sunday or twice for Feb 2 and Feb 16, and for March, it's March 2, 16, and 30. And they're in discussions with the business establishments because the business establishments themselves have agreed that business has flourished, has become better during the road closure. So sometimes it really becomes surprising for them because at first they were doubtful. Why will you close a street? But now they're agreeing to it, and that's very good news. Next, please. Pasig City was one of the first cities that actually had car-free streets, and they called it people streets because this is their way. They wanted to say of to give the streets back to the people, and the one of the most popular ones is the Emerald on Emerald Avenue and Caruncho Avenue, and over the years they have added other people's streets in the barangays. Okay. Also on Emerald Avenue, they also offer free bike lessons. And this is in coordination with other civil society organizations such as yours truly, Bicycle Friendly Philippines, and Pinay Bike Community. So People Streets is really a great way to get people together, to involve the community, and for various activities. So if we look at, next slide please, if you look at the objectives of pedestrianization, it really is to transform urban spaces for movement of people. Why? Because if you don't close a street or if you keep it open to cars, people, as we saw in the previous slide, if it's just full of cars, then you cannot move. And to promote sustainability, to promote a healthy lifestyle, to enhance quality of life, when you have car-free streets, you actually are able to lessen noise pollution, air pollution, and you're able to really be able to exercise. And then therefore, even your mind, for mental health, physical health, you become a lot better, a lot healthier. So if we look, what can you do in terms of car-free streets? So car-free streets, if you look at the next slide, you'll see these are just some, okay? But some you can have a community ride. People do laps around Ayala. People do laps around in Pasig. You can have Zumba, bike lessons, dance lessons. People actually go there to skate, and there's so many activities that you can do. Sometimes you can even do art lessons on the side. Many people bring their pets. So there are many things that can be done in terms of for car-free streets. And it becomes more inclusive because there are more people who join or who are able to really use the public space. So if we look at the benefits of having pedestrianized streets, next slide. It's the you have reduced traffic congestion. I know that sounds ironic because some people say, "What? You're gonna close the street, edi magiging traffic in other areas." When actually that's not true, because when it's done as partial, then there's a rerouting in it becomes reduced for the congestion. So I mentioned this earlier, increased health, safety, and accessibility. And then again, also the urban aesthetics and community engagement is also very good. One thing, a good example is Maginhawa. Maginhawa had community engagement, and also they did urban aesthetics by painting the road, and that was a community effort. So it's also a great boost to local businesses and the economy. So many people think that people on bikes don't bring business, but yes, they do. And people who walk. Why? Because it's easier. You don't need to look for traffic. And when you're walking, you can actually stop and you can actually browse and you can actually eat and you don't need to worry about where you're going to park. Okay. So if we move to the next slide, there are laws and regulations that protect pedestrians. I'm not going to go over them in detail, but there is, for example, the LTO. They have the traffic code, which mandates pedestrian lanes, crosswalks, and right of way for pedestrians. We also have the Clean Air Act, because the Clean Air Act aims to reduce air pollution and promote cleaner transportation options. You have the Drunk and Drugged Driving Act, so that you can at least there are penalties for reckless driving, especially when it involves accidents with pedestrians. And the DOTR and DPWH, they have the Joint Memorandum Circular, which have provides guidelines for pedestrian infrastructure, including sidewalks, crosswalks, and pedestrian bridges. Although we'll get to that and know about pedestrian bridges. Pedestrian bridges, I may as well say it, as much as possible, we'd like to have on the ground pedestrian crosswalks and do away with pedestrian bridges, because more than anything, they are anti-senior citizen, anti-pregnant women, anti-people with disabilities if we have the pedestrian bridges. So as much as possible, we would like to have them at ground, or so on the ground. So, and we also have local ordinances. So various cities and municipalities have laws that promote pedestrian safety and pedestrianized zones and low speed limits. So these laws aim to protect pedestrians and promote road safety. However, big sigh on my side and maybe with many of you, enforcement and public awareness are still lacking, and there's a lack of effective implementation. So it's something that we really need to push and we still need to work on to raise awareness and to really push the LGUs to implement and enforce properly. For those who want to help in pedestrianizing a street, I have a slide on tips on how to pedestrianize or to even, let's say, if you want a car-free street in your barangay or in your city, uh, seven very simple steps. One, I would suggest that you join a local organization or a community that promotes active transport. So, for example, there's the Solar Commuter Club. There's also Mobile in Manila. Um, there's Bicycle Friendly Philippines. There's Pinay Bike Commuter Community. So if you join any, these are just some of the examples of organizations that promote active transport and promote who will really push. Of course, the main big umbrella group we have is Move Us One, they really are pushing. You know, the Move Us One coalition is really pushing for car-free streets or pedestrianization and safe streets. Okay. Two, when you, for example, you do already are part of a community, try to look at what street can be pedestrianized. So, for example, in Emerald or in Pasig or in Quezon City, and they chose which one can be car-free. UP Diliman has been already around pedestrianized on weekends for actually more than a decade already. So they could see that UP, because it's oval and the way it was built, would be a good street to pedestrianize. Now, for example, you cannot fully close a street or you want to share, it's going to be shared, you use traffic calming measures. So that's tip number three. For example, in Maginhawa, it's not fully closed. So you really have to also put, let's say, speed humps to make sure that the vehicles passing will be moving at a slower speed limit. Okay, and then make pavements continuous and accessible. In doing so, this is something that you will really have to work with the LGU. You'll really have to take photos. You'll really have to show them that, hey, the sidewalk here is broken or the street here is not accessible for PWD. So this is in coordination with an LGU. For tip number five, you can convert unused areas into attractive pedestrian plazas. A very good example of this would be the Tak in Antipolo. The Tak area was, because it actually is a dead end, so many cyclists and people, the LGU also used it to put up booths. And so this was made into an area that is pedestrian friendly. Okay. And then for tip number six, create a shared space. And for tip number seven, build complete or well-connected street networks. Again, for most of these tips on how to pedestrianize a street, one will really have to coordinate with the LGU. Okay, next slide. So some challenges. I think one of the very big challenge really for having safer streets for people is changing the mindset of decision makers, and not just of decision makers, actually of many people, because many people are of the mindset that streets are for cars. So when people say, let's widen a sidewalk, it's like, why? Why will you do that? Masikip na nga eh. So nandun yung challenge to change the mindset that narrowing a road and widening a sidewalk will help traffic congestion, would you believe? Because many of the places that people go are walkable, but people find it very difficult to walk because there's a lack. or a lack or a no sidewalk at all. Or if there is, one has to walk sideways. Okay. Another challenge is changing the perspective or the mindset of business owners. So many of them are worried about giving up parking or parking slots to make way for people or even to make way for bike parking infrastructure. Okay. Another misconception is a poor economic impact. So again, I mentioned this earlier. Some people think that if you close a street, it will affect their business. But we are discovering and slowly discovering that it actually is a boost for the economy and a boost for the smaller business owners. And another challenge will be resistance from residents. Uh, I recall when there was a bike lane that was put up in along Saviorville and even along Camias. This was back in 2006 or even earlier. There was a the residents were complaining because they said they could not park their cars. So these are some of the challenges that people face when they want to pedestrianize or become more inclusive to allow people to have their streets. Okay. I've actually included here, no, if you Google it, I didn't anymore list it down, but Top Gear actually wrote a an article on a guide to car-free streets in Metro Manila. So when you have time, that's something that you can look at as a guide if you want to go and visit the different car-free streets in Metro Manila. So, again, I know I just said that this is going to be very brief, just an umbrella overview of inclusivity and pedestrianization. And so I hope I was able to share a little something, a little knowledge with you all. Thank you.
There you have it. That was Ate Karen Crisostomo of the Bike Friendly Philippines. How about a virtual round of applause for Ate Karen for that very insightful discussion about inclusion and the pedestrianization. No, sige. Now we open the floor for your questions because thankfully and amazingly, Ate Karen delivered her presentation right on the dot. So that gives us with an ample time for open forum, which is an equally exciting part of any webinar where you, our dear participants, would have the chance to get your questions across, especially that our speaker is here with us tonight. Come on, so you may chat your questions if you have. You also have the freedom to turn on your microphone and or camera to ask your question to our speaker. And while I am waiting for your questions, no, I did take some notes from the discussion of Ate Karen, and I love that she started her presentation with a walk down the memory lane, if you can call it that way, and giving us an idea as to how things were before, especially in the pedestrian landscape. And then we learned that before the roads were way, way, way wider and not so congested, vis-a-vis to what we are seeing, living with, and experiencing now, which is, there are a lot of cars wherever you look. And I love that Ate Karen mentioned something about we are moving forward and that's a good thing, but still it leaves so much to be desired. That's why webinars like this is one opportunity that we can get as many people on board and turn them and bring them to our fold so that we have one key message, which is calling for one our government to establish facilities that are really for the people. And Ate Karen also mentioned that streets ideally should be and need to be for the people. Kasi tayo ang pinaka mahalagang resource why these things are there in the first place. And I think we already have a question, and we have a question from Maria. And the question goes, what's something we can do immediately, like today or tomorrow, that can help pedestrianize streets?
Thank you for your question, Maria. One thing that you can do, I know one thing I noticed. Oops, sorry about that. One thing I noticed is that people are afraid to speak up. Okay? So, for example, no, nagigit-git ka na nga, wala ka na ngang malakaran, and yet people don't complain, or people don't write to the LGU, don't write to the government. So I think one thing that you can do right now today, why don't you can volunteer for Move Us One Coalition, because they're always looking for volunteers. That's one. You can also, one thing that you can do also today, you can join a local community, or an organization like Pinay Bike Commuter Community. You don't need to be a cyclist if you're not yet a cyclist, but it's and you plan to bike. You can join Pinay Bike Commuter, because these are communities that push for pedestrianization of streets. So that's one thing that you can do today, immediately. One is also, since social media is very strong, very loud, then take photos. Take photos of the lack of a sidewalk that needs to be worked on. Take photos of people who have no place to move. These are things that you can do, and then you post them. These are just very immediate actions, actually, that you can do.
Thank you very much, Ate Karen. I would also like to segue na rin that speaking of volunteers, the Move Us One Coalition actually opened its call for volunteers just last month. And friends, we are closing the call for volunteers tomorrow. So I am encouraging you all here on Zoom and on Facebook to help or invite your friends whom you think may be interested to be a volunteer of the coalition to apply and send in their applications because we're closing it tomorrow. And so far, as of now, we already have a very good number of signups and we are very excited to go over them next week. But until then, the 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 applications are still open. And in addition to that, I like that Ate Karen mentioned about take pictures, post it, continue to speak up because we look around, ang dami ng mga kapwa natin kabataan for example na masasabi natin siguro nawala na ng pag-asa kasi they feel like their sentiments, their voices, and their clamors have fallen through the cracks. And if nawala na sila ng loob, hopefully, we remain the ones who still have the courage to speak up. Kasi we need more like-minded individuals to continue voicing up. 'Di ba? In fact, what one of the things that the coalition has done, if you remember and if you watch the video, we released a video in partnership with the media agency in December wherein pinakita doon sa video some of the videos or some of the areas in Metro Manila na super, I don't know what's the perfect term for that, but super pangit na example why, I mean, very good example why pedestrianizations should be pushed for. Kasi yung mga areas na yon, halimbawa, merong sidewalk na putol tapos kailangan mo ng dumaan sa daan, tapos merong mga sasakyan sa gilid and whatnot. So these are examples. And and the key message of that video is, which also relates to what Ate Karen gave as an advice, as a tip, is when we put the wrong people in power, wrong things happen. So, which is very timely and relevant kasi in the coming elections, di ba, that that call rings equally louder for all of us to really vote the right people into position. And we have another question. Thank you very much, Ate Karen. We have a question from Lance. How can we have current pedestrianized or car-free streets continue even after the current administrations to avoid the fates of past efforts like the Rizal Avenue?
Hi, Lance. Thank you for your question. One thing that you can do, again, one is by going, you really go. For example, in Quezon City, we noticed that Mayor Joy really goes to the car-free street. She's there from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. And she actually entertains people. So when we talk to her and we tell her, we sometimes we actually even do a chant like every Sunday, because at first it was only going to be once a month, but we started doing a chant every Sunday, and then she actually responded and said, we're looking into amending the ordinance, and we're going to look at making it either every Sunday, or we will start with every other Sunday, or make it twice a month. So something that you can do really is, uh, so that it will continue, make sure that the LGU will make it policy. It has to be policy so that it cannot just be easily taken away. So that's what happened in Pasig City, the Emerald Avenue and Caruncha Avenue. It's actually based on this policy backing the car-free street or the People's Street. So it's the same thing that can be done with Quezon City. It's also backed by an ordinance. So make sure that car-free streets have policy backing it so that it will not just disappear.
Thank you very much. So really, ano no, parang continue, do not give up, voicing out what you think should be done. Kasi eventually, makikita at maririnig din tayo ng kanya-kanya nating local government units. Ayan. Do we have any other questions? Let me just check if we have questions from our live viewers on Zoom. So far, wala naman. How about from you, friends? Do you have questions? And by the way, meron reaction si Gold. And she said something that like agree with the report to LGU because I took pics and sent it to LGU Pasig, and motorcycle drivers always abuse the solid line along Amang Rodriguez, especially along the bridge. Last month, they finally placed a barrier. Diba? So that's a very good example that our LGUs really listen to the people. But unfortunately, there are also LGUs na, hindi pa masyadong receptive, no, about people, their constituents or the residents suggesting things that that should and could be done. But we can only wish so much. But until then, we continue, sabi pa nga ni Ate Karen, continue. Because we just don't know who we can inspire by continuing to voice out our messages, our causes, and our advocacy. It may seem that they're not giving us results at the first place, but we don't know. Sometimes, things happen behind the scenes. And if we continue until such a point that we see the results of what we have been doing, because we chose to continue even when it seemed hopeful in the very first phase of doing it. Can we have other questions? Yes, Ate Karen, I think
Yeah,
you have something
no,
to add.
yeah, I think what you said, no, is very important. I think it's also important that people know their rights. People know the law. People should know that, for example, the joint circular memorandum that was given to, what was it? DILG mandated that LGUs must create. So there's a circular, okay? People should know that the LGU is mandated to create. Um, a safe network of sidewalks and bike lanes. So, but the thing is, if the LGU isn't doing it, that's something that you can point out and say you were mandated to do so. Or even if you can, sometimes you can share the laws that were shared here. It's good to know the law and say, hey, we're a priority. Vulnerable road users are a priority by law.
Yeah. Parang reminding them of what they're supposed to deliver to us as the residents. Kasi baka sabihin lang din nila, oh, our plate is already full. But if here we are telling them and reminding them that, hey, here one of the things that you are mandated and obliged to do and deliver, then that's one area that they finally can act on our suggestions. Thanks very much about that, Ate Karen. How about the others? Do you have any questions or any sentiments? Or, all right, we have here a very specific question from Christian. Thank you very much for this. MRT and EDSA Carousel Station are connected quite conveniently. Pero a few months ago, they built a footbridge. So now you have to walk so far to transfer from bus to MRT and vice versa. Where can I express this concern na may gagawin talaga? And this is North Avenue, Trinoma.
Who gave the question so I can address?
Si Christian po.
Question. Okay. I thank you for your question, and I know I can understand completely that it's always that way, that it's talagang pahirap sa commuter. It's never, so sad to say that it's never the commuter is not really the comfort of the commuter is not taken into consideration. So where can you express the concern that something will be done? Well, sino bang may hawak ng MRT at sino nga ba ang may hawak ng EDSA carousel station? Siguro kailangan din talaga um if you can make a narrative or kahit bullets lang, and then maybe if you can also video, kung ano yung yung pahirap na paglalakad, time yourself, but it's very specific, and then we can give it to, um, we can let it go viral, like what was si Kuya Marv, he mentioned that there was a video no made by Move As One, and it showed talaga na the ugly side of footbridges, the ugly side of sidewalks. You can do the same thing. You also maybe video and show yung yung pahirap na ginagawa mo just to do a transfer, no? Siguro yung mga, I'm sorry, no, EDSA Carousel and yung mga, they built a footbridge, okay? Sorry to say, ako din, I'm so against the footbridges. Because if I just may share, no, the father of a friend passed away because of a footbridge, on a footbridge. And talagang hindi yan for your, it's not for, di ba there's a sign for your convenience and safety, use the footbridge. Actually, it's for the convenience of cars para hindi na sila hihinto, kaya may footbridge. So, sana nga, tama, no? So now you have to walk far to transfer from bus to MRT and vice versa. So, please, this is Christian, okay? Sana you can make a narrative and then let's see where we can send it out para marinig yung concern na yan.
Thank you very much, Ate Karen. And there's also a sentiment shared by Gold that's saying na our politicians kasi do not commute, kaya they don't understand the plight of the everyday commuters. And, I believe I'm sure we will all agree on this one, no, na why is it that the people, I mean, the ones who decide for the people in the grassroots who experience life differently, hardly, ay yung mga nagdedesisyon ay yung mga taong sakay lulan ng kanilang naka-air condition ng mga private na sasakyan, di ba? And that's a very big irony and it's not new. Kasi that's been sort of bred in the bone in the country na we are ruled by people who, at the very least, they probably may have not walked our shoes, especially those who na nagko-commute talaga every day, no? So, isang malaking palaisipan yan. Your thoughts, Ate Karen?
Alam mo, ako, don't get me started. Pero malaking frustration talaga yan that people don't seem to realize that, or our decision makers, because nga they don't walk the talk, or they don't really, they also, again, I mentioned this is a challenge, no? I'll go back. The challenge talaga is that mindset, changing the mindset from, dahil actually ang buong Pilipinas, we cannot, how can we say it, very car-centric ang pag-iisip ng tao. When I say car-centric, dahil nga ang hirap to move around, ang nangyayari is, ang mga kabataan will say, paglaki ko, bibili ako ng kotse. Parang yan ang goal nila, bumili ng kotse. Or the government, it's let's widen the road so that we can accommodate more cars. Hindi nila naiisip that if we actually promote active transport, like bike lanes or sidewalks, better sidewalks, that will actually ease up on traffic congestion and will also ease up and make people's lives happier, healthier, and we will actually have more livable cities. For example, some people have asked, why do I bike? One, I'll say, I bike because I don't like being stuck in traffic. Two, I bike because I want to be one less car occupying the road. So people do if we just had better and more inclusive streets, then those who can walk to work because it's nearby will not have to take public transportation, and those who cannot walk or cannot bike will have a more comfortable spot in a jeep or a bus, and those who can bike will opt to leave their car at home and be one less car occupying road space. It's it's a cycle sana that should go hand in hand, and yet yun nga no, hindi naiintindihan hindi nakikita ng ating mga um, decision makers, despite the fact that they have already been to other countries, to other foreign countries, they take the bus, they walk, and yet they can't seem to transfer that knowledge or that experience here. And that's very unfortunate for us.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much. And in addition to the car-centric thing, about how our country has been governed, I really agree with that one, no? Kasi which I believe yung car-centricism is contributed by a lot of parang echelons in the society. Kasi for example, in the education system, we were sort of framed into thinking that to be able to achieve success, I mean, one of the manifestations of being successful in life is being able to buy a car. And mind you, that's been parang that concept has been inveterated in the systems. So that's why people grow up thinking that eventually in life they would and they must be able to buy a car para ma-achieve nila yung certain status. No, and nagsasanga-sanga na rin yan siya. That's why, sabi nga ni Ate Karen, mas pinaprioritize yung mga sasakyan when in fact there are more commuters than there are private car drivers. In fact, there's only at least 5% or even less na cars in Manila, but yung pondo mas napupunta sa pagpapalawak ng mga daan para sa mga sasakyan instead na pagpapainam ng ating kondisyon bilang pedestrians, bilang commuters. And you know what? It's a very sad reality. It's a glaring reality, but it does not mean that we should stop. It only signals us that we continue. Because, because it's already 7, I think what we can parang remember from this talk is, or from the session with Ate Karen is really, it has also to do with not only us, but collaborating and reaching out to our LGUs. And when we have the chance to really go out there, because sabi nga sa video ng Move As One, when we put the wrong people in power, wrong things happen. Ate Karen, can we hear some parting sentiments from you before we end?
Gusto ko lang siguro sabihin, one, first of all, thank you very much for Movers One for inviting me, no? And thank you very much to the participants for your questions and for actively being here, no? Siguro ang hiling ko lang talaga is let's all do our part. Let's all make our voices be heard. Let's all really tama na yung nagtitiis. Parang that's not how life should be. But make that realization that we can do our part and we deserve better. We deserve comfort and a more humane, no, um, mobility, no, that we deserve sustainable life, living communities to live in a sustainable and healthy community. So let's let our voices be heard. Wag na tayo maging passive. Let's be more active.
Yeah, let's be more active, not passive, because we deserve more. And part of achieving that being deserving of more is to go out there and vote the right people. And just a parting message, no, according to Edmund Burke, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. And I hope that we do something positive every single day when we have the chance to. Can we all have a photo opportunity, my dear friends? Can we all or for those who can, let's turn on our cameras and give our widest smile. Thank you very much, Doc Mao, for joining us.
Hi,
Ayan,
Doc
Doc Mao is our...
Ma!
Ayan. Sige, I'll take the screenshot. All right. I'm taking it now in 3, 2, 1. Smile. All right. Thank you very much, my dear friends. It has been an honor to have spent an hour with you on a Thursday night. I thank you for sharing your time with us, your interest and your attention. And this has been Marvin, by the way, the Move As One Coalition Civic Engagement Lead, saying thank you and see you all on the next YMLP session. Ingat po tayong lahat and enjoy your dinner. Bye!
Thank you. Thank you.